right, thank you all for joining in and following us and subscribing to our channel, The Green Henry Show. And we would like to thank all those that listen this time, and stay tuned for episode 2, and we will catch you all on the next time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody. We'd like to welcome you to the first episode of The Green Henry Show, brought to you today by Brent William Henry, our host, and Keith William Green, your co-host. That is me. We have a panel today featuring Karen Henry, Nicholas Volkmuth, Jake Salsberry, and Brent C. Hawk, all together today to discuss our title, our topic, Does Religion Have a Monopoly on Truth? And that is what we are going to be discussing today. We have a variation of questions for each one of the panelists, including the host and co-host. We give our opinion as well. So please sit back, grab a beverage, and enjoy the show today. And I'll be on the other side.
Tonight's topic is about religion. The main question on the table tonight will be, does religion have a monopoly on truth? The definition of religion is the belief in and worship of a superhuman controlling power, especially a personal god or gods, a particular system of faith and worship. So each person on the panel tonight will get 3 to 5 minutes to answer the first question I put forward. So everybody should respect the person that's talking, and then we'll go around the panel. So the first question will go to Jake tonight. And it is, what does religion mean to you?
Well, I would say religion, to me, it's a means to get people to do good things. And what I mean by that is a church, whether or not the practice of faith they teach is real or not, the outcome of that is people generally become better people. Right, so to me, a valid religion is one where you get more out of it than you put in. For instance, we'll talk about homeless people. Without churches, we would have a huge homeless and needy people problem, because they are a huge funnel for charity work, for food drives. And to me, that's what religion solves. It solves the problem that if nobody believes in anything, we're all going to be crappy people.
Okay, so let's go to Nick now. Nick, what does religion mean to you?
Well, I would say Jake is not that far off. Technically, religion is some form of guide for society on doing good and being good. However, religion can be more on par with political parties as well. I think that pretty much sums it partially, because usually there was always a combination of church and state until the United States of America sort of broke that tradition.
All right, then I want to go to Mr. Green on this, since Mr. Green has talked a lot about religion. I also want his take on this. And Mr. Green, what is your take on religion?
Religion for me is how do I describe it? It's a never-ending search for truth. Religion is, because there are so many stories and so many experiences of a spiritual or celestial nature that it's kind of hard for me to believe that there isn't a spiritual power that exists. And I've experienced prayers being answered in my own life, and so religion is a big part for me. Like assigning myself to a religion is no longer as important as it used to be. More of the search for truth is what I desire out of religion, is to search for what does God mean, who is God, and what can I do, and what does he do for me?
About having religion in the world, and I will send that question to Jake first.
Well, that kind of goes in line with what I think's important by having religion is, if you didn't have religion, people would, we wouldn't live in the society we live in. I think that there would be greed and power would be everything. Not that it isn't a lot now, but I think religion helps balance that out because it gives people a reason not to be shitty. And without it, I think the world would be a better place. So that's where why me and my dad differ is while he thinks that religion's like this evil thing that is bad for everybody and nobody should listen to it. I think religion's great. Do I believe in religion? No, but I strongly encourage it. It's amazing.
All right, and Mr. Green, I guess I'll pose the same question to you. What is good about having religion in the world, and what is bad about having religion in the world?
What is good about religion? I'd have to follow the same thing of religion helps with the moral state. The bad thing about religion most of the time is that it keeps people under thumb, so to speak. Having a wide range set of rules limits people in caring for one another, but at the same time, some of those rules are needed to show you what's good and what's bad.
And Nick, the same question is asked to you. How do you agree with Jake and Keith's statements, or do you see things a little differently?
I probably see them more like the half empty, half full glass type of metaphor, in that religion is like a sword. You can use it as a tool of destruction, or you can point it down to the ground and till the soil. Like it has been used as a means to guide people to be good people, but it has also been used as an excuse to oppress others. So it is very specific on what the religion is about and who or why the religion is used, type of thing. I mean, it compared the Aztecs with the Muslims. They have similarities and differences.
Okay, so since we're on this, and this is just a question for anybody can jump in on this question. Are all religions equal, or are some better and worse than others?
Okay, I think I have an answer for that. Religions, they are the same, but the difference between one another, it's like, for example, in Hinduism, we mostly use, the peace, like the weapon, and in religions like Islam or Christianism, they use the force, and not that exactly. Christianism make wars, and that bullshit, and probably other religions. No, the most ancient religions don't use the fact of hurts others, and that's my answer to that.
I was going to say, I'm glad you said that. I strongly disagree with that. And my reasoning, and when I say that, I don't mean that all religions are different. I think there are religions that are very unhealthy. And for instance, are you familiar with Sharia law?
Sharia law, yeah, fairly familiar.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's so bad to the point that I'll tell you something about Muslims. Radical Muslims are the nice ones, the ones that are caring and peaceful. It's the ones that are real fundamental and take their religion by the letter and follow these old beliefs that are dangerous, because that if you follow Sharia law, it's like stuff like stoning people to death, and it's like, we're obviously being recorded, so I really don't want to go in detail on what they do, but I mean, it's bad. And there are other religions like that. For instance, like cultist communities, that I don't think are very healthy.
And that's sort of the thing there. Granted, this is not modern Christian society, but much older, and I guess closer on par of right. A thing about and it's not today's Christianity. Like maybe like shortly before or further back from the Protestant reforms. That if you weren't Christian enough, you were technically punished. But that type of trend has always existed before that as well. So it's one of those yes men, dead men mentalities, really. Now there are religions that are more forgiving, and there are that are more strict, and they demand complete blind obedience. So it's very different for maybe individual churches. When I say churches, I mean one building at a time thing, maybe.
So what are you saying there? Are you saying that, and this goes also to Jake, you see religions are different, but if we ask for a reform of particular religions, aren't we kind of saying you should all be the same?
I think they don't have to be like specifically the same. Like we can agree upon common rules or laws for not following your practices to the letter. Number one, I don't think somebody should just be punished if it was for ridiculous, unforeseen circumstances that they're not specifically following that rule and or law. These rules and laws are just overkill. What happens if they just happen to fall out of the tree? Yeah. The tree took off all their clothes and they're butt naked and they're supposed to be fully clothed. Whoops.
Okay, I'm not sure what your point. That was a little weird way to say it, but Mr. Green, you jump in here. What are your thoughts on the different religions? Are they all the same, or some more dangerous than others?
No, they're not all the same, not by a long shot. I think most religions in general, the idea is to try and help people better themselves. You see that in Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, all of them. You're trying to live a better life and set your life on a higher moral standard. Now, if we want to talk about what's better about some and worse about others, there was a period of time where people inaccurately used Christianity to support their own war. Talking about Crusades, the Spanish Inquisition, which get brought up ad nauseum, and is kind of a joke in this day and age because we're hundreds of years removed from it. But in this current day age, probably the religion that's causing the most damage is Islam, and those that have taken it to abuse it. And I haven't read the Quran, but from what I understand, there are good things about it, but there are also things that are not good. So, and essentially, a religion is okay as long as it's not, telling you need to kill somebody. You need to, like Nick was saying, you don't need to kill someone, keep them under thumb, so to speak. They got to follow this set of rules, otherwise they get stoned out in the backyard. And that's a ridiculous religion. And I grew up Christian, and I understand the Mosaic Law is very similar in this regard. But the New Testament is a lot different. It doesn't follow the same tactics, and it's a change. A lot of people still mistake the Old and the New Testament. So currently, right now, my opinion is Christianity, specifically out of the New Testament, is the better religion in the world. But if there's one that works for you, and it isn't Christianity, go for it.
Oh, that's a good answer. Yeah.
I have a comment on one part of that. I like it. My comment is that you made the comment that their religions are ridiculous, and then the last part you said that you think this one's better. There's one that's better. My question to you is what gives you the right to not like a religion? Obviously, if someone believes that the Pringle god of Pringle is coming down to bless everybody with, I don't know, like Jolly Roger sticker packets. Like, I mean, that's somebody believes. I mean, you have to accept that. That's not ridiculous religion. That's their belief system. I would say
It's like feminism.
That's somebody believing some guy fell from the stars and was born into a woman without the woman having sex, and then the guy dying and then coming back and moving stones with his mind and walking on water, and I would think that they're both as equally crazy, but it's somebody's belief, so I respect it.
Okay.
Right. What?
Right.
And I gotta ask Mr. Green, what gives you the right to say that about religion?
Because I have the right to say whatever I want about any religion. It's protected under my First Amendment rights,
Well,
right?
it's not even about the right, but you said that their religions are ridiculous.
Well, to me, I mean,
that would cause you to hurt somebody. Or
No.
Yeah, but actually you have to have a argument to say what those religions are stupid, or because I could say the same about Christianism.
Yeah.
Well, that's
No.
fine. It's perfectly fine. And people have been saying that about Christianity for the last, I don't know, 500 years.
Yeah, you
So-
have the right to say whatever you want of another religions, but you have to, have a point, why are stupid, or why are,
Well, I said
why
ridiculous.
it's not the same.
And if I said ridiculous, I would...
Why it's not the same with Christianism or your religion?
Okay, so my view of
What's your-
Christianity is, what I believe is that you can't perfect yourself. And in Christianity, it's not based on perfecting yourself. In other religions, it's all about perfecting who you are, which you can't do. There are flaws in everyone.
Yeah.
I see.
No, when you say about Christianity, but that's not true, because that is not what all Christians believe.
Well, that's not what all they believe, but that's what I believe.
Well, okay, but
Yeah.
that's not Christianity. That's not representative of Christianity.
Well, it is represented Christianity. You have to read the New Testament.
Like non-denominational, maybe that's representative of non-denominational.
Well, that's what I represent.
Okay, but
Well-
that's not a majority of Christianity.
Well, I don't represent majority
Actually-
Christianity.
Okay. First of all, I think what Keith was probably expressing about not actually trying to perfect ourselves was more on the lines of somehow there are fine lines we must walk our lives, and we must always do these things that are repetitive to the point that what happens if we're just not capable of performing these acts? I mean, do you expect a legless man to walk around? Do you expect someone who is mute to speak, or a blind man to see? I mean, sure, right, those things can or could be cured, but if you're incapable of doing that as a requirement for your religion, then this is not what Christianity is about. It is more lenient and easygoing and very forgiving.
Well, it's more that, and I think what Mr. Green was trying to say by the belief of not perfecting yourself is that we'll always need forgiveness. We're never going to be perfect, so we can't. We're not striving for perfection, at least in the non-denominational section of Christianity. We know that we need Christ's forgiveness, where other religions might be striving towards more. You got to you're going to one day be perfect, kind of a thing. I think that's what Mr. Green was trying to say. With his comment on ridiculous, I don't really feel the same. I feel like a religion is worth its weight for the fruit it bears. Is it doing good in society? I don't care about necessarily the whole story behind it, our theology, but more, what is it producing? To me, that's how religion should be looked at.
Agree to that. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And I guess it's on this same topic. Does everyone here believe in a separation of church and state, or do you see faults with that, or would you like to see them separate?
Okay, can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Okay, I think the its state and religions have to be separate. Cause religion is something so personal that it cannot be with the government. That's cause I think that religion can be have to be separated with the government. You know, it's it's not religion for the country. Everyone in the country thinks different things than others. So religion is some, something completely personal. That's my point.
I just want to say something. I think that you guys might be forgetting is that I believe the majority.
By the way, this is Karen Henry joining in on the conversation. Hello.
The part that you're forgetting is how much of religion is actually generational. Now, if you really consider that, and you consider the Muslim, you consider all these other ones, how much of it is actually generational? Children raised up in it that continue on in it. Yes, some break free, thank God that some of them do. I see in Jake's case there's a difference. But if you look at a worldwide scope, you will see the majority of it is all generational. I just wanted to throw that out there.
I noticed that, Nick, I've heard you have a different view on this whole separation of church and state thing.
Right.
Can you explain your view in simplest terms?
Oh, well, first of all, it goes back to the days of the Founding Fathers, where there was more than one type of Christianity in the United States of America. There wasn't just Catholics, there were Protestants and Methodists and all that. And so, because of this, they're like, we're not going to conform to any one of these churches, so we're going to have a separation of church and state. Therefore, they're not going to conform to a single belief. Now, I will respect that a lot, but I think that it's a bit too much of a separation where you're going to have these disagreements between the churches, and you need to find some common ground to just peacefully talk it over and come to a mutual agreement or understanding, to have a decent amount of advocacy for the believers of within the population. So this is where what was founded in the mid to late, somewhere in the 1890s, so during the Chicago World Fair, was, I think, a good start of having a combination of church and state, but at the same time not conforming to a single belief.
Again, I don't know what the benefits would be to have a combination of church and state. I think that kind of digs into religious freedom. Why would you need the state involved at all?
Oh, right. It's not like not for the sake of the how should I put this? Not for the sake of actually put it in laws or things like it. It's for the sake of advocacy. There's a certain population here that wants to build another religious building, a church, a temple, a mosque, and they need some form of representation that is interfaith, and they can make some sort of mutual agreement in this advocacy.
still not seeing the reason why you would need government involved in that. They can do that without government. Mr. Green, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think if you get government involved in church, the like if you didn't separate church and state, you're going to go back to the time in the 1500s, when Martin Luther was around, and when he was being tried for his works on the Pope and everything that was going on with that, he was standing before the Roman Emperor. That's a problem. That's a problem when religion is influenced that much that the ruler is making judgment call based on that religion. There should be a laws of the land, and the church should obey the laws of the land, but also they have their religious beliefs. As long as they're not stealing, killing, the basic laws of the land, they should be able to exercise their religious freedom. You don't want your church mixed with the government. You want that mix in government so that no church is taking over, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, if you think people hate religion now, just wait until it joins the government.
Right. Again, I just think it was a way to at least peacefully talk things out before anything goes awry, at the very least.
Okay, I guess, yeah, Jake, do you have anything to add?
Yeah. Absolutely. Look, I'm a believer in the separation of church and state, right? Here's the thing. I think we've done a good job at it, and then recently we screwed it all up. You have to have that separation, but what separation is too far? I'll take it, for instance, the Pledge of Allegiance. Kids used to say this. It used to make them believe in their country, we would stand up and they would give allegiance to the flag, and it's great, but it has the word God in it. And what happened? People got so mad about the word God in the Pledge of Allegiance. It's like, wow. Like, I understand you got to separate church and state, but there comes a point where you have to acknowledge that there is a tiny link to it, because religion's fundamental in the building of America. The fact that they take away the Pledge of Allegiance, well, you know what I mean, or other things that like reference the word God or the Bible or whatever, kind of ridiculous.
So yeah, another reason where it might be a good idea, but at the same time not conform to a single belief.
Yeah, I just think that while yes, I understand that there may be some people have a problem with it, then just don't say it. If you think that you're harming yourself by saying the Pledge of Allegiance, which is supposed to make you feel American, then just don't say it. Just like people who kneel at the national anthem. I don't get it, because it's our country. I mean, it's so ingrained in our country that it even has the word God in it. Like, like religion is there whether we want to accept it or not. I think it's crazy that people want to root it out like it's like the devil.
Right.
I totally agree with what you're saying, Jake. I will just add this, that when the Constitution was formed, it does mention a creator and God as well, I think it might say, but it never says Christianity, anything specific. So it's more represents deism.
It's tradition.
So I think it's important that the government never favors a particular religion. That's why I kind of want to see them separate, because then you're kind of discriminating, it feels like, against other people, or showing favoritism when you just say, oh, this religion is us. I don't mind the whole concept of God, but there are religions that don't operate on the theme of God.
Yeah, but that gets into majority, though. And the reason it's okay to say God in this stuff is while there are religions that don't believe that, the majority is so small. It's like making laws targeted to benefit the 1% of the population. it's like yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. I don't know. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, to be honest, now when I said committee and council, some sort of advocacy council, well, I mean, sure, there are plenty of city boards to buy land to build a house of worship, but just but when you say 1%, how many individuals are in that house of worship, and how big is this building? How many people can it hold in this house of worship? Because I think even 1% deserves one house.
Okay, that's the thing. So say for instance, 1% of the population believes that potatoes are terrible for you. Should we then change the public school system to banish all potatoes at all, and get rid of all potatoes across the board to accommodate the 1%?
No.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That's more overkill. No. If I had to say on what, now the banning is one thing, but it's more like every Lent, you're supposed to eat fish on Friday, but you don't need to have fish on Friday. Yet you can order something else on the menu. But I would encourage, if there's enough people of one belief, and they have this annual practice about eating or doing something, that they're allowed to do so as long as it's not forced upon the rest of the populace, type of thing.
Well, see, that's where.
But that's exactly.
I was going to say that's exactly what Jake said.
That's exactly what you're saying we shouldn't do. Is exactly what we're doing. We're creating laws and we're changing things that affect the entire population, and we're changing it for the 1%. I want my kids to say the Pledge of Allegiance in school in the morning.
That's true. That's totally true. That you
Wait a
are
second,
saying.
but Jake, can I clarify, Jake? Can I clarify your comment? You're saying that if an atheist is offended if they think that's discrimination to say the Pledge of Allegiance because it says God in it, you're saying they need to get over it. It's not discrimination.
Yep. Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
That much I would agree with.
Right. I'm also just saying that, like, I don't know, some people, like a good number of more radical Muslims are on put a serious imposition on Sharia law, and I'm like, nah, Sharia law should be no more or less than the Lent's fish or a jar of kosher dill pickles. It's more optional than something you must need to do, type of thing.
So you're saying they can practice their elements of their own law for themselves and not enforce it on anybody.
Right, they cannot force their viewpoints on others. But the option is available as well.
Like he's saying, McDonald's, like during the Lenten season or whatever, has the fish for Friday. Does that mean everybody has to order the fish? No. They're just taking care of that percentage of the population that want to have the fish. Hey, we have it available for you. Does everybody have to order it? No. I think that's what he's trying to say.
Precisely.
Yeah, but
there's... Okay,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, what's interesting is McDonald's actually takes a huge loss on the filet fishes every year. They take a huge loss just to support Lent.
Right.
Fun fact.
So is that wrong? Is that wrong that they do promote it though? That's up to them, right? That's the freedom that they have. They're catering to the one, but it's available or not available for everybody. I don't think it's wrong.
I get where you're going with. The problem is that that's not the government. If we're talking about separation of church and state, McDonald's would be categorized as a private corporation.
Yeah, but they're big.
Yeah, they're big, but they can do what they want. It's capitalism. But here's the thing: the government can't pander to everybody's sensibilities either. I don't think. You know, it's just a losing war. You can't please everybody. There's going to be some people that just feel left out no matter what.
Right.
Yeah, that's the problem with actual society. It's like they're all a bunch of crybabies that want, to everybody to feel, comfort. I have dyslexia. Sorry. Okay, go ahead.
I know what you're saying, but it's like there's a recent news corporation, media corporation, that they wanted it to be 50% male, 50% female, and I think they're based out of New York. This news group. Well, in New York, there's like 50 genders legalized, so they're discriminating against those other genders.
And that's a little, I guess, overkill. Now, there is, I guess, another reason without, of course, conforming to a single belief, a careful combination of church and state, where I don't want churches to become and this applies to all religions, on a single belief should become some sort of superpower that condemns another. I've heard about how some Muslims got so upset about the display that insults Islam, and to be honest, even though I'm seriously against the whole shooting up the place, I still feel ashamed that my fellow Christians insults another religion, and that's just too far. I'd rather shut down the event. Is what I would prefer instead of should help the church in Texas.
Well, I have a question for Keith. Keith, how much power and how long has the Catholic Church been? I mean, they've had a lot of power over centuries, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, not. They don't have enough power to do something,
Well, they did. They used to run everything for well over, over 1,000 years.
Yeah, maybe in United States, but actually in Liverpool, my country, UK, actually, no, the church don't have enough power.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
Think mostly
England.
Muslims,
well, that's the credit to
have
England.
more power than Christians. Actually.
I give credit to England because historically England opposed the Roman Catholic Church, but prior to all the other,
our country it's not that Christian. There are more Muslims and refugees. Refugees.
Well, that was King Henry VIII.
Wait a second.
What's that?
This is incredible. Ben lives in a country where there isn't separation of church and state, and he just told you it's not very Christian there.
Right.
See what happens when you make Christian the official religion?
Nothing happened. Well, but it's different because in United States actually there are not that Muslims in over the places that wants to make your country another Syria country,
Right.
Yeah.
Do you understand the difference? If in my country where we know no Muslims, probably we'll all be Christians,
Right.
But in the case is that we are not longer Christians. The majority is practically Muslims and social justice warriors, But actually, I don't believe in God on anything, but I actually respect other religions. If they respect me, I respect them,
Right.
That's but that's it, The UK is fucked up. Okay,
so is America.
Think much
so
about it.
Mr. Green, I think the UK's got a little bit more problems.
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's head to another on this same topic, but another question. This is Mr. Green brought up the whole ridiculous comment earlier. Do science and religion contradict each other? Anybody can jump in with this question.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
50-50. Yeah. Historically, religion and science were side by side because they had something in common: the scientific method, the proof, but or facts. So, but then something happened. I don't know what it was specifically. Most likely the evolution theory, which contradicts the belief that we were created. We did not, well, go from babies to adults if, in terms of fish to humans. That so
Let
that
me,
was
let me let me ask you a real quick question before you keep going. Why? You're saying fish couldn't have been humans, but if that's what God's plan was, why couldn't fish have turned into humans? Maybe God designed evolution. Like how does that contradict? And that I don't understand. And this is what bugs me about religion. Why they're so unwilling to take a theory that supports everything. It supports technology. It supports our scientific findings. Why is evolution so bad? Babe, what if that's how God created Adam and Eve? It says he created Adam and Eve.
Okay, I think I have an answer for
millennia?
that. Okay, in the Bible, it says that actually the word it makes like acts of magic, you know.
yeah.
Oh, I
It
thought
says
you were about to say 7
Adam
days
and
because I was
Eva,
about
you
to
know.
tell you that it doesn't. The Bible does not say 7 days. That is a huge popular myth, and it has to do with the Hebrew translation of the word day. We actually don't know what.
Okay, I have a Bible here. I'm gonna read the Bible. Let me.
You're going to read a
search for it.
translation of an ancient text, of a translation that where the original word we don't know the meaning for. We think the closest word to that is day.
I also want to add this. This is important that in the Bible it said that 1,000 years could mean one day to God. So God doesn't have the same perception of time as humans.
Oh,
Right.
oh, I didn't thought about that. Oh, actually.
There are plenty of words. The English Bible is translated through Greek, which it came from Hebrew type of thing. Heck, even Moses did not cross the Red Sea. They crossed the sea in which Moses was found in the a Jewish ritual of such. What was it? Passover.
Well, I never understood, and I know where Jake's coming from. It's like I never understood why Christians hated the whole evolution thing so much. Are they saying that if the Bible said evolution instead of like a straight up Adam and Eve kind of thing, they would not believe the Bible anymore?
Okay,
I mean,
okay. But I have another question for you. You know that Christians only believe in New Testament, you know, and in the New Testament it don't says anything about, you know, the creation thing.
Right.
Cause I broke my Bible and it says New Testament only. And it's a Christian Bible actually. It have only the New Testament, nothing about the old one, the Jew one. Okay, bad joke.
Okay.
Let me. So it sounds like everyone here is a New Testament fan. I would venture a guess. What's interesting is that I think we leave out the Old Testament a lot. Let me pose a question to everybody: who is the greatest murderer of all time? Anyone want to venture a guess? Who's killed the most people in the history of the planet? Yeah,
God.
King
Actually,
David.
God.
I'm pretty sure God murdered more people.
Yeah, actually, God. God's the worst murderer in the world. Actually.
Oh, wait.
I'll tell you a story. If you believe the Bible, this King David, right? He has his army, and God says, hey, get ready. There's a battle coming, and David sends some scouts to check out the size of the other army. God comes to him and says, why'd you send the scouts? He says, I just wanted to check out the size of the army. And he says, what, you don't believe that I'll deliver you to the victory? And David says, no, I didn't. I just want to check the size of the army. Boom, God murders 480,000 people, men, women, and children, dead. 500,000
Yeah,
people dead.
think in Noel, you know?
Old Testament.
Well,
Actually,
I'm just saying, that guy's pretty mean.
oh, wait. Question. What is murder specifically, though?
Well, it would be I'm breathing, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow where I can eat some bread, and then boom, I don't exist anymore.
Oh, hold on.
But I guess the question is, and Mr. Green, you can answer if you want to, is the people that were killed by God, were they nice?
Oh, well,
How the heck am I
They
supposed to know
They
that?
lived in his camp.
Okay, that's a little bit, out of context.
Actually, I'm just curious about Jake. What is murder specifically? Because what may seem murder to us is just a hungry lion eating.
Okay, well, so say my mother gets eaten by a lion. Okay.
Okay.
I'm sad. The lion murdered her. That's murder.
Well, hold on. Okay, Jake, do you eat meat?
Oh yes, I'm a carnivore, absolutely.
And then, I mean, sure, you may not have murdered the animal, but you're still.
I'm a huge advocate of murdering of animals. I love murdering animals.
No, I'm just confused on the choice of words there. First of all, to me, murder is, with the exception of self-defense, defense of others type of thing. Murder is where you kill a fellow member of your own species for selfish personal reasons.
Oh, so you're saying that it's okay that God kills 500,000 people?
Okay. To talk about Jake's point about the whole God thing, killing people.
Okay, but Nick, actually, murder. Okay, if we don't use murder for God, actually, it's a massive killing.
I'd like to hear what Keith said on that last thing. What were you going to say, Keith?
Well, in light of what Jake was talking about, to your point, Jake brought up a really good point about the translation being days in months. In light of your point on God murdering people, there was a belief that if they didn't win the battle, then God supposedly killed this many people. Essentially, they went to war and got beaten. And what they said was that God killed 400 and whatever thousand, but what really happened is they went to war and they didn't win. And so
I didn't even think about that, and you've opened my eyes. I think that is the most logical explanation for that.
Because if they won, they praised God. If they lost, they believed God was punishing them. So, and to that manner, Israel went after other countries, but then later on, Babylon took over Israel. Medo-Persia took over Babylon, Greece, Medo-Persia, and the whole cycle continued. Then the reason why, like myself, like to go to the New Testament more than the Old is because times changed and things absolutely changed, where you have, like, let's take our politicians. George Bush Jr. said he had a vision, God told him to go to war. And he's a Christian, right? Well, his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, said, if this was my kingdom, my servants would fight. So, if he's not willing to go to war for this world, why would a Christian want to go to war in any day and age after that? You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not a big proponent of war. And I think if someone goes to war, they need to call it what it is, in that they're doing it for their country and land, not for a religious belief.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. Yep.
Right.
And people throw that around a lot. God told me to do this. God told me to do that. And a lot of times it doesn't line up with anything that's ever been talked about in the Bible.
So, right. Now, yeah, I mean, granted, I was just more picky on the choice of words, really. Yeah, and I'm still sticking with the belief that killing out of personal emotional reasons is, well, murder, but killing and for the sake of consumption is not specifically murder, as long as it's not cannibalism or anything like that.
Okay, can I ask for a question?
Giant more ants?
What?
Can I ask for something for all of you? Okay, what did you think about gender ideology?
Well, that's another show, but we are almost out of time. I want to ask one more question about religion, and that is: do you think the world will become more religious in the next 100 years, or more secular?
Okay. I can I ask that?
Go ahead.
Okay, actually, I think that all they think about is social justice warriors and Marxism and that type of things that makes like probably a civil war in United States at least, and probably in 100 years the world be more religious. I think this Marxism propaganda probably disappear with years, and the world go to the normal thing that is actually believe in God or wherever you want. Uh, the human being, in our veins, for saying, we have the problem that we want to believe in something because we are scared of death, of we cannot believe in ourselves. That's the
Okay.
problem.
All right. There's Ben's answer. Nick, what is your thoughts?
I guess I need to understand what secular really means, but I think in a way, yeah, the future will be more religious, but at the same time, sort of secularish. Religion is no longer used as a means to control others. It is meant as a guide to be better people. So as long as it's kept like that, it is religiously secular or secularly religious.
Okay, Mr. Green, any thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be the same. If the left has more power, it's going to be more secular, less religious. If the right has more power, it's going to be more religious, less secular. So probably about the same because they flip-flop so much there.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be it's probably going to be about the same as it is today. And we might even have new religions pop up as the years go on, and sort of reformations within our current religions. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. I think Jake disconnected. Thanks for joining us. That was the questions that I had, and have a good night.
All right, thank you all for joining in and following us and subscribing to our channel, The Green Henry Show. And we would like to thank all those that listen this time, and stay tuned for episode 2, and we will catch you all on the next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.